Well, tonight the Canucks will face off against the Knights for Game 1 of their series. So I thought I'd do a little preview of that series, as well as I've done previews of a couple of others. So let's first talk about the regular season. During the regular season, the Canucks had played 69 games, and during that time they'd earned 78 points. The Knights had played 71 games, and during that time had earned 86 points. So you have a differential there of 8 points, but you also have a situation where the Canucks technically had 2 games in hand. If the Canucks win those 2 games, then technically the Canucks have You have 82 points, and they're only 4 points behind the Knights. So in other words, when you look at those regular season numbers, there's not a massive difference, all right? Now, if I remember correctly, toward the end of the season, the Knights were on the incline. They were playing better, and the Canucks were kind of on a decline. They were playing worse. But all of that is gone now. None of that matters. During the regular season, the Canucks had a goal differential of a plus 11, and the Knights had a goal differential of plus 16. So that's another statistic that is more or less a wash. It just doesn't really matter. So let's fast forward to the postseason, and let's look at special teams. During the postseason, the Canucks have had a power play of 26.2 compared to the Knights' 19.1. That's a significant difference. I mean, we're talking about a 7.1% difference. The Canucks are 7.1% better on the power play than the Knights. That matters. That matters a lot. The penalty kill. The Canucks are 81%. And the Knights are 86.4%. So the Knights are 5.4% better on the penalty kill. So we have a little bit of a special teams imbalance there, where one team is, I would say, significantly better on the power play, whereas the Knights are, a bit better on the penalty kill. Could that be a factor in the series? I think so. I mean, I think so if it continues. If the Canucks are able to continue with a 7% better power play than the Knights, that could be a factor, although the Knights have a better penalty kill, so maybe they'll be able to quiet that Canucks power play a little bit. Here's another difference that I think could be of significance. The Canucks have a 52.8% face-off win percentage, and the Knights have a 47.2%. So the face-off win percentage for the Canucks is better by more than 5%. And like I said in my preview of the Boston and Tampa series, that can play a significant role. A timely face-off win could lead to or prevent a goal. That could be the difference in a game. And the difference of a win or a loss in one game can be the difference of a win or a loss in a series. So this is an advantage to the Canucks. Will it be a significant advantage? Will it be an advantage that plays a deciding role in the series? Well, I don't know, but it's definitely something to be watching for and considering. It's definitely advantage Canucks on that particular statistic. Now, when we look at the goaltenders, and I'm only going to look at Leonard, Markstrom, and Fleury, Leonard has a 2.44 goals against average, and so does Markstrom. Fleury's is a little bit higher at 2.5. I'm guessing we'll see Leonard, at least in Game 1 tonight. I don't know that for a fact. I haven't looked to see if that's been announced yet, and I'll talk more about that in just a moment. When we jump over to the save percentage side, this is where there's a pretty noticeable difference. Leonard's save percentage is .904. Fleury's save percentage is .886. Now, Fleury's is, that's not great. And Leonard's is respectable, but not amazing. Markstrom's is .929. Now, the Canucks get outshot badly. They got outshot, I think, in every game against the Blues, and they were one of the worst teams in the league as far as shot differential during the regular season. So Markstrom has a chance to get his save percentage up much higher because of that. Nevertheless, that is an interesting statistic that the two goalies for the Knights have slightly respectable to mediocre save percentage, and Markstrom has a good save percentage. Could that play a role? Well, we'll see. But here's what I'm wondering could play a role, or I'm wondering if it will play a role more than anything else. If you haven't seen this, Marc-Andre Fleury's agent posted a picture, and it was a picture of Fleury In his goal equipment, out on the ice, it was a drawing. And it had a giant sword stuck in his back and protruding from his chest. And the sword said DeBoer on it, which, if you don't know, that's the name of the Knights head coach, Peter DeBoer. So the idea would seem to be that Fleury's agent was saying that Peter DeBoer was stabbing Fleury in the back by not playing him, by playing Leonard instead of him. Leonard, who was acquired at the trade deadline from Chicago by the Knights, has played the bulk of the games in the postseason, and he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season, and there's every indication he won't re-sign with the Knights. So there's a situation where you've got Marc-Andre Fleury, who's been the Knights goalie since day one, and is still under contract for, I think, 2 more years, maybe longer, I can't remember, but he's still under contract for a while. And his agent is, coming out on social media and kind of firing shots at Peter DeBoer and, I guess, by proxy, the entire Knights organization for the way that they're treating the goaltending situation. Now, I read this morning that Marc-Andre Fleury advised his agent to take down that post, and I'm assuming that he did, but if there was damage done by it, then that damage is already done. So here's my concern. Does this goaltending controversy and what would seem to be perhaps an expression of Fleury's unhappiness about it, does this affect the team? Are the Knights distracted by this? Do the Knights, have problems in this series because of this situation? Well, only time will tell. But I will say this. It can't be good. It's not a good situation. It's never a good situation when there's anything resembling a goaltender controversy, especially in the playoffs. They say in football, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterback, or you have no quarterback. It's not quite like that in hockey. I mean, we've seen situations where goaltending tandems or pairings were able to be extremely successful. My favorite one of those, just because it brings back funny memories, is Belfour and Hasek for the Blackhawks, when it seemed like Mike Keenan was basically changing goalies on the fly, which of course was absolutely absurd and ridiculous. But nonetheless, the point that I'm trying to drive at is that you can have success with having a goaltending team as opposed to one decided starting goaltender. But anytime there's that kind of controversy, and anytime it starts to leak out into the social media, it's never a good thing. So here are my thoughts overall when I think about all these statistics. The Canucks have an advantage on the dots, and I would say a power play advantage at least, if not an entire special teams advantage. And I think that that's going to cause the series to go longer than some might think. I don't really think the goaltending controversy situation will play a significant role, but who knows what else comes out of all of this. I'm going to say the Knights win because I think overall they're the better team. But I was surprised by how good the Canucks were against the Blues, although I think the Blues really laid an egg. So I think part of that is that the Blues just barely showed up to play. But I think the Canucks are a better team than I estimated. And so I'm going to say this is Knights in 6. But I think we're going to see some good games. I doubt we're going to see blowouts. And if we do, it could even be a blowout by the Canucks against the Knights in a game. I don't mean in the series, but I mean there could be a game where the Canucks win 5-1 or something like that. Overall, though, I think the Knights will prevail because I think they are the better team, but I think the Canucks will give them, I don't want to say all that they can handle, but will definitely put up a heck of a fight. So thank you for watching. If you found this to be informational, entertaining, useful, please click the little like button, and do please subscribe if you have not already. I appreciate you watching, and have an awesome day. Bye now.